Hope all is well with everybody. Welcome in. We're going to get started in just a minute. Oh, goodness, I'm trying to get this together. Hold on one second. If you are new here and you do not know who I am, hi, my name is Kendra. I'm a plant-based lifestyle strategist. I'm here to support you in not only knowing on exactly like what's going on exactly with our body and understanding inflammation, hormone imbalances, and blood sugar regulation and tying those all together, but also just understanding from a plant-based point of view exactly how we use food as our medicine and dive deeper into us being able to release illness and diseases all on our own without any type of medication, any type of surgery. So today we're going to be talking about why we're still so inflamed and how being inflamed, exhausted, and hormonally imbalanced is impacting us, and how my clients have reversed this, how they have been supported in getting away from this space by not only being in a space of understanding how the body is supposed to naturally feel and operate, but also being in a space of fully releasing that dysregulation, as you would say, when it comes to us having habits that do not support us and having habits that put us in a complete inflammation mode and put us in fight or flight mode and cause our body to turn against us and not be able to trust us. So as we age and we never learn the habits that help us be able to cycle sync, help us be able to balance our blood sugar, and we get older and older, our body starts to break down, not because our body is turning against us and that our body does not work right, but in reality, it's because after years of you maybe eating inflammatory foods, or you having the issue of that your cycle is irregular and you have an overload of estrogen and not understanding where this is coming from or why it's happening, and thinking this is just a part of being a woman, right? It's not hype. It's not a diet trend. It's not about you trying a new supplement or you having a new workout regimen. It's about you understanding how you get real results that are sustainable, knowing how you've been seeking for these results over and over again in different spaces of diet culture with keto or paleo, Weight Watchers, trying different diets or trying weight loss pills, calorie counting and restricting, and not receiving the results that you were looking for. Women are unknowingly making themselves sick. Let's just be honest. And how you know that we're unknowingly making ourselves sick is because of the diet trends and how the results don't ever stay. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you don't have enough motivation or that you don't care. It's not about that your body's turning against you. It's about understanding that connection of why you're having inflammation and connecting that inflammation to the symptoms that have caused or been caused from the roots. Understanding why your blood sugar is so unstable and where it's coming from. Knowing how your hormone disruption is causing a trickle down effect all throughout the body. And knowing that the fact that once you see it, once you feel how the body's naturally supposed to have in your natural biology, the energy that you're supposed to have, how the cycle is supposed to be regular and it's supposed to be normal and not painful, you'll not be able to unsee it. And you'll constantly be in a space of sustaining that because you understand how you got here and how you stay here. But you first have to know that it's not about getting all the knowledge of, okay, this is how I stay in a calorie deficit and this is how I eat a plant-based meal. But understanding that if your root cause is coming from you eating in too many inflammatory foods and a poor gut health, then you're going to have to start building up your gut, lowering your inflammation, and using food as your medicine. And then as we go through that process of us understanding how the body is supposed to operate and feel day by day, you'll be able to sustain it because you know the same process of, okay, I took out those inflammatory foods and I helped my body be able to regulate my estrogen, my progesterone, or whatever else is going on with the food by using it as medicine, right? Because the truth is, and a lot of people don't understand the truth behind it all, is that you wake up with no energy or you're suffering through a cycle every single month dealing with PMS, and this isn't just a part of being a woman and a part of your body. You having iron deficiency is not a part of you being a woman and dealing with your body every single month when you menstruate, right? But it's the lack of you having the nutrients that you need. For example, waking up and drinking coffee before you eat, and so then you skip out on a protein intake, for example, and you switch it out for when you're hungry in an hour or two, or by 10 o'clock you need a snack. You go for some quick snack that is a low calorie, low sugar, or no sugar, zero sugar added, or whatever that they market it as. That does not mean that it does not have processed added types of sweeteners, because there's a difference between processed sugars that they categorize and they can legally get away with marketing as something else, right? And so over the years of you doing this, and then you're underfed all day long, even though you're eating in a calorie deficit and you're not eating as many calories as you used to stay in that calorie deficit to lose weight. You are still sitting here in a body that is undernourished. Do you know how that puts stress on the body? And then you tell yourself that it's stress from work or your children or any outside factor, besides realizing that the stress is coming from the habits that you have towards food. It's not your age. It's not because your menstrual cycle has thrown you disarray every single month because it's painful and heavy. But it's because your blood sugar is spiking and then it's crashing and you're doing nothing to rebuild it and to help it to balance itself. And then every time you eat, you go through a spike and then a crash, a spike and then a crash. And it spikes again, trying to compensate and fix what you have going on. This prioritizes you being in survival mode because your body's trying to keep you alive. This is not a safe place. And you know what happens when your body does not feel safe within itself and it knows that it cannot regulate itself? You now have a hormonal imbalance. And this is what clients come to work with me to fix, because they realize that there's some type of imbalance, but they can't figure out where it's coming from. And a lot of the times it's hormonal. And so they're dealing with estrogen dominance or progesterone drops or high cortisol. And they're trying to figure out how to get themselves into a space that doesn't have all this fluctuation of up and down, of elevation or dips and drops that are too low. And you slowly start to feel bloated, puffy. You have this irritability every single month that is categorized as PMS, right? You're exhausted. So you're moody all the time. You feel stuck and inflamed. You're sitting here dealing with the issue that you cannot lose weight, or that you have a stubborn weight that has come out of nowhere and you're trying to figure out how you can stay in a calorie deficit and you're starving all day and now you're hangry. Dependent on coffee because you're lacking energy. And a lot of y'all are dehydrated and not getting hydration on a cellular level. And you're dysregulated when it comes to you intaking the correct kind of foods, because you have told yourself that being hungry and eating is the enemy. Well, that's not your enemy at all, but it's actually your place to be able to regulate and fix what you have going on. If you know how to use food as your medicine and do it in a proper space and use it correctly. But we aren't taught how to use it correctly. We are taught how to abuse it. And then in result, what we get in return are all of these symptoms. And so then we think that this is just a part of life and this is a part of being a woman or a part of how you live, right? And there is nothing wrong with you per se. Your body is just responding perfectly to the foods, to the habits, to the actions that you take, that you have. And what you have given your body is instability. And instability is your output because that's your input. And so how do we get from a space of being here? How do we change it? How do we fix it? You first have to realize that it's not about you chasing the symptoms with some type of medication or some type of surgery. It's about you understanding how to stabilize what you have going on so that way we can fix it. Becoming a space where your blood sugar can stabilize and you can feel comfortable eating again, and knowing that eating foods is not a punishment. Eating foods and being hungry is not something you should punish your body for doing and having those feelings or those cravings. But knowing that when you're eating, you're lowering your inflammation because you're giving yourself anti-inflammatory food. Knowing that you are helping your cortisol be able to balance itself and not be too high or too low. Knowing that you're giving yourself a space where your insulin can become responsive instead of resistant, because insulin resistance is a sign that your cells are not being able to unlock themselves to use the energy in a correct space by transferring all throughout your body. Ovulation it becomes a thing of strength rather than you using it as just something to, for a lot of women, just go around and talk about how you're ready to go sleep with a man, but understanding that this is a fuel place for your creativity. When you're not creating a life, a baby, it fuels your body in a creative space. Knowing that when your progesterone is at a stable, a balanced place, a lot of y'all won't be dealing with all the issues of PMS that you have from progesterone and estrogen dominance, and you'll be able to help yourself feel calm again. That calm feeling will return. Your sleep will become a regular, normal, natural cycle again. You will have a space where water retention will not thrive. You will have a space where your weight can release. Your cycle can regulate itself. Your energy becomes stable. Your brain fog is no longer existent. You have a space where you feel comfortable and you know that your body feels safe within itself by the responses. Not just about getting in the gym and working out as hard as you can or staying in a calorie deficit, but understanding your body's biology. It's not some type of magical equation of y equals mx plus b. It's you understanding that your body, even though it functions the same as everybody else, has a unique response to the habits that you have. Because we all know that in itself, diabetes is blood sugar dysregulation, but it shows up in different ways and different symptoms in other people. So if you know that every single day you eat entirely too much sugar and you don't know what stabilizers are, nor do you use those stabilizers, more likely than not, you are having an issue of blood sugar dysregulation, right? And so then if you know that you've been diagnosed with diabetes, you can't sit back and just say, oh, the magical cure for it all is for me to take insulin for the rest of my life. Because that's not a cure. A cure fixes. A cure eliminates the problem. But all a prescription is doing is keeping it alive. So you're keeping it in a way, you're keeping the disease healthy enough for it to thrive. This is like you knowing that you have the flu. And instead of you giving yourself some type of help to get rid of the flu, to get rid of that sickness, to eat your chicken noodle soup, give yourself something to be able to help your body build back up and to fix itself. Instead, you're sitting here saying, well, I have the flu. So what I'm going to do is I know that you have the flu. So let's stay together and let's cough on each other. That's not going to work. That's not going to cure anything by you giving yourself more flu symptoms, if that makes sense. Like, that's a weird analogy, but when you think about it, that's what you're doing when you're giving yourself a prescription to fix the problem that you have caused. The same thing about taking a flu shot to prevent the flu. You're literally putting yourself in a immune compromising space to try to fix something. That's not going to work. And we see time and time again that that's not the correct way to go about it. Even if it does necessarily work in your brain because you didn't get the flu this year, that is not the correct way to help your body be able to prevent illness and diseases. You build your gut up because this is a place to help your immune system, which is over 70% of your immune system is in your gut. A great place to help yourself stay away from illness, stay away from diseases. Hydrate yourself on a cellular level and oxygenate yourself on a cellular level. So we ask, how do we get to that space? How do we give ourselves cellular oxygen and cellular hydration? You go from eating just any and everything, as long as you're in a calorie deficit and cutting out sugars, to realizing how important and impactful fruits and vegetables are and why you have to eat them. Not just because you're told to eat your greens, but to understand that this gives you hydration and oxygen on a cellular level. And what cannot thrive there? Cancer. So do you understand how important it is and impactful it is for you to change your habits by having a structure of nourishment and understanding how important that structure around nourishment is? Because this is the results that my clients get when they understand the structure that comes from a plan of how do I get enough nutrients without having to calorie count and restrict and make myself starve all day, but knowing that I'm giving myself real whole foods, which helps build my body up. No more crashes by 3 p.m. No more sitting here, waking up all throughout the night, going back and forth to the bathroom, or having those late night binge patterns because you're sitting here craving sugar at 9 o'clock and you really, really want a sugary snack after dinner. No longer having bloating after you just drink water or eating a meal every time that you eat a meal. Clearer skin. Shorter, predictable cycles, because women who are sitting here dealing with 5 to 7 day cycles, you do understand that that is not something that the body is naturally supposed to be doing, because a natural, normal cycle for a woman is at most 4 days, at most 3 to 4 days. And majority of women have a 7-day cycle. A lot of women have a heck longer than a 7-day cycle. And this is norm, right, to them because you're told that you're supposed to menstruate. You're a woman. And if you're iron deficient, this is normal as well. And so all of these things that they are telling you that are normal are not truly normal. It's something that is common. And you have to wonder, okay, so why is it so common for all these women to have PMSing symptoms? Why is it common for all these women to have these unpredictable cycles, painful cycles, heavy cycles? Why is weight so easy for women to hold on to? It's the habits that we are taught and how we're not taught how to cycle sync. How we are not taught to support ourselves fully. And so when we're not taught in a space to cycle sync and to support ourselves fully, we have that emotional instability. We have that overloading feeling every single month, that iron deficiency. We're going to have it all, that bloating. But when clients come and work with me, they have emotional steadiness. They have reduced PMS, if not no PMS symptoms anymore. Because as somebody who was in that space, who had heavy menstrual cycles, a load of PMS, dealing with the weight gain that they couldn't get rid of, and all of this instability in their weight in general, I got rid of that by not dieting harder. And my clients don't get rid of it by dieting harder, but understanding what is triggering your body, what is making your body uncomfortable and making it say, hey, I'm not safe here. Showing your body that you don't need to be triggered by every single food item that you eat, that inflammation should not be a part of your daily life. Most women are inflamed from the chronic blood sugar spikes, not eating enough proteins, living in a space where your cortisol is too high or it's too low, eating a whole bunch of ultra processed foods, emotionally eating. That's a big one, emotionally eating, especially around people's cycles, as women's cycles, emotionally eating or overeating. Fear-based eating is another one. Stress eating, because emotional eating is different than stress eating, because a lot of women just eat because I'm sad today, I'm going to eat. Today is gloomy, I'm going to eat. I just want to lay in bed today, I'm going to eat. That's emotional eating. You can wake up in any kind of mood and you're just ready to eat. And I love food. Don't get me wrong. I love food. But I know that I have a stable habit pattern that allows me to be able to enjoy food in a healthy cycle. And a lot of women don't understand how to eat according for their cycle phases. So you don't know how to have a good, healthy relationship with foods. And that's what I help my clients learn, how to have a healthy relationship with food, not a restrictive relationship that makes you feel uncomfortable and makes you want to quit or makes you have to try a new diet, because quitting is you wanting to eat those old foods that you used to enjoy. Why are you cutting out the things that help you be able to stick with the lifestyle? Instead, learn how to make healthier alternatives. If you love to eat cake and cupcakes, that does not mean that you never have a cake or a cupcake again. You learn how to make a plant-based cupcake, a cake, or whatever else, because it's not that difficult. This little piece of hair just wants to fly up in there. It's not difficult. It's just a matter of you simplifying the process. And so then it comes a second thought, a subconscious thought, that you don't even realize all the changes that you've made. Because it's not hard for you to make these changes. Eating clean is not you just eating a salad. It's you understanding how simple it can be for you to implement clean eating in your life by you eating more plant-based foods, more fruits and vegetables. It's a simple process if you make it that, but you have to have a plan to make it that. You can exercise daily and still be insulin resistant. You can be skinny and you can still be insulin resistant. You can be avoiding sugar and you could still have an unstable glucose. You could be sitting here with all the education in the world, but without you having a strategic plan of how you get yourself away from this space, learning the root cause, it keeps a lot of women stuck. I talk to those women. They're DMing me. They're coming and booking one-on-ones with me. It keeps you stuck when you don't have a plan, but you have all this knowledge in the world. I have worked with nurses, My last client was a nurse, and she literally was telling me about the fact that obviously she's a nurse. She's gone through schooling. She's learned so much. She's talking with coworkers about her pain points or her problems, and her doctor and everybody else, and nobody's being able to pinpoint exactly where it's coming from and helping her change because they are not taught in their programs how to reverse. And like, we were talking about that, and she was like, you hit that spot on. When we go through schooling, we are not taught how to reverse. We are taught how to diagnose. We are taught how to treat from a diagnosis and a prescription perspective and a surgery perspective, not from a perspective of reversing what my client has going on by using root work of what is going on a deeper from the surface level, deeper from the surface level. This is a nurse telling me this. And I didn't need her confirmation to explain this to me because I already knew this. But it was something that I was like, I love this. And I have the video footage from our Zoom call and everything else. And it's plenty of proof on my landing pages, okay? And so I'm talking with her and I'm telling her, I'm like, this is exactly what I tell all the people that are in a space where they're skeptical of Western medicine or that they're afraid to go to the doctors. And I tell them the same thing. They're aware. A lot of them are aware. If you're going to a good doctor, they are very aware of the fact that they cannot help you fix the problem by reversing it and getting to the root, because that's not what they're taught. And a lot of them can get in trouble for helping you do that. They can't even help their own coworkers. And so what they're teaching you to do is surface level. Go get your studies done. Go get those tests ran. Go get the blood work. But when they tell you that you're diagnosed with something and you have to take a prescription or they're suggesting a surgery, that does not mean you go run with it and you get on the internet and look up all the ways that you can unalive on the surgery table or all the different ways that diabetes could take you out and that all the things that are causing it, so you have knowledge. You need to start looking up, okay, let me pinpoint my pain points so I can pinpoint where it's all starting. Oh, I understand. I'm not unlocking my cells to use the glucose, use the sugar correctly that I'm consuming, and understanding how my pancreas is having to overcompensate from the lack of nutrition that I'm getting. Because the clients that I've worked with, non-nurse, non-medical field related, a lot of them don't understand that regardless of how you are eating, if you are not eating sugar, but you are still not using stabilizers in your food, you are throwing off your body's rhythm, your own chemistry every time that you eat. So in return, yeah, when you hit 40 and 50, you're either going to be in an insulin resistant state or you're going to be diagnosed with diabetes. This is not because you got older or that it runs in your family and you're trying to sit here and be like, my mom had diabetes and so my grandma did it too, and so I'm going to have it. It is not running your family. Everybody in your family has the same terrible habits. Thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Because if you are somebody who's in the same space, because that's what made me realize when I was like first on my health journey, I wasn't necessarily plant-based yet, but I realized the fact that I was like, my mom, my grandma, my mom has this many health issues. My grandma has this many health issues, my dad. And I'm like going back down the line, how many people have cancer in my family? My doctor's asking me my medical history from my family. Like, we all went to the same hospital, so not all of it was on file. Like, some things didn't get transferred when we all moved to the same hospital, but she's asking me questions about my family history, right? And so I'm telling her these different things about my family history. And so she's like, okay, so we're looking out for this. We're looking out for this, right? But they're not doing it from a perspective that all of this runs in your family. They're doing this from a perspective that they know that all of your family members are going to have the same eating habits, the same habits in general. You're all going to be sitting there eating the same soul food. You're all going to be sitting there eating the same inflammatory meat and dairy. And there is no structure behind your diets, and there's no structure behind you taking care of yourself, because you throw yourself into this plethora of a fire of, I'm going to eat a salad and I'm going to calorie count and restrict and make myself uncomfortable and starve every day. And all this does is make you think when you fail that you have no discipline. But the $1 million truth is that the women who get the most results are not the most disciplined, the more disciplined group, rather. They have more structure. They understand that structure. And they have a plan that is built around the days that you are most motivated and the days that you are not most motivated. Because that plan structure is planned for the failures and it's also planned for the successes. We hone in on those successes and we wave that green flag of saying, I did this today, I'm amazing. And those days that we fail, we don't sit there and wave the white flag and give up. But we understand that those days that I feel like I didn't really eat the best, or that I slipped up today and I ate something I wasn't supposed to eat, this doesn't mean it throws off your complete chemistry and your complete journey. This just means it's time to go back to the map. Why did I fall off? Did I wait until I was hungry to decide what I was going to eat? Did I not even have enough things in for me to be able to compensate for my hunger? Did I have no plan at all and no structure, and I just went in today just winging it? These are things that you learn when you have structure to start questioning yourself on. Not sitting here throwing yourself under the bus and making yourself feel bad for being human, but understanding that structure helps you be able to have that stable blood sugar, helps you be able to avoid those inflammatory foods, helps you be able to keep your hormones in a regulated space, because your body is able to trust you when you have the structure and you have been relying on the structure. And even when you do slip up, the body goes, well, I know we're going to go back to safety. I know we're going to be able to be in safety. So I can continue to do what I do, which is reverse what we have going on. So that way, we're not punishing ourselves for being hungry. We're not punishing ourselves for having a slip up and being human. We're not having the most extreme detox ever, or consuming detox teas and having to take iron and gut supplements and brain supplements, but knowing that safety is within the foods that you eat. So if you were looking for the step that is going to help you be able to not only realize where the root is coming from and know how you're contributing to inflammation, but be able to reverse what you have going on, learn how to get that safety and to keep that safety, and to truly be aligned with what your body is needing. I have one-on-one sessions that you can book with me in my bio. You can get that. You can check that out. You can get a Klarna Affirmer Afterpay. And if you were looking for deeper application to apply that is more than just working with me on one-on-one, and we are going to make you a mapped out plan with a bonus of you having a grocery list by the end of that, that I will send you after our session. Once we have our talk, we learn about what your lifestyle is and etc. But I do have coming out next month my new program. If you were looking for that, you DM me program, and I will send you more details on that when I release that on is the first on Sunday? I think it's on Sunday. I was about to say Monday, but I think it's on Sunday. Yeah, the first is on Sunday. If you were looking for more foundational work that is one-on-one with me, that we will be working for about, I haven't decided if it's going to be 8 weeks, but 6 weeks is usually my bare minimum. And then 8 weeks is around the time that I feel like that's what this program is going to have to be, is around 8 weeks when I get my finalized everything for today. That is going to be more foundational work that is going to help you be able to not only build that healthy foundation and to sustain that healthy foundation, but also help you be able by the end of that 8 weeks to know exactly how to live a plant-based lifestyle just the way that I have, and to be able to reverse what you have going on with all this inflammation, breaking down each of those layers when it comes to you knowing how to eat a plant-based meal, knowing how to make non-toxic products, and really understanding what the root of your issue is and working through that from week 1 all the way through to either 6 or 8, depending on what I have for the end of this today. Because you are not broken. You are just in a space, and a lot of women are in the space of inflammation, and that inflammation is reversible, but you have to stop living in survival mode to know how to reverse what you have going on. So if you are looking for a space to have that authority, give that authority back to yourself, give that comfort and give that safety. Check the link in my bio. Like I said, my program is not released yet. It will be released on Sunday when I get all those finalized details together. But if you DM me on program, I will send you first looks at everything that has to do with that program. And if you were looking for one-on-one sessions, you can get those one-on-one sessions linked in my bio. If you have any questions for me, please drop your questions down. And if you do not have any questions for me, I'm going to hop off. Because inflammation is a reversible issue. It truly is, whether it's chronic or not. It's just a matter of you understanding what foods are triggering you, what actions, what habits you have that are causing you to not have safety within yourself, and having those repercussions of comfort after you eat. Because everything has a consequence, whether it's a negative or a positive. So why do you have all these negative consequences from you just living life and eating food? You have to ask these questions, because if there's nothing wrong with your body physically, obviously it has to be something that you're doing, because your body is designed perfectly. It's just a matter of the habits, whether it's come from lifelong symptoms that you've had because you haven't ever been able to eat correctly for your body, but you've been eating to fill instead of fuel. Or it could just be as simple as the fact that we just haven't understood how inflammatory the products that we use, or our gut health could be poor. There's a lot of different things that could be triggering, but we have to figure out the roots. And figuring out the root starts with you having a stable foundation, a structure of understanding how we've gotten here. Not just sitting here playing a guessing game of, oh, I'm going to take a gut supplement. If somebody is suggesting to you to throw in a gut supplement or a brain supplement when they don't even know anything that you have going on with blood work, or you sitting here dealing with a number of different issues with hormonal imbalances, and they have not talked to you to figure out your lifestyle and what you have going on, you're never going to be able to sustain the health. Are you going to take a gut supplement for the rest of your life, or a brain supplement, or an iron supplement? No, you don't want to be in that space. You want to have something that is a temporary, if it's a supplement, a temporary use. I don't use supplements. I have been plant-based for over 5 years now. I don't have to take supplements. I don't have to have herbs for me to sit here and live a life daily that is healthy and nutritional, full of nutrition. I don't think that was a word. Full of nutrition. But that is because I've learned how to eat a rainbow plate, use food as my medicine. And I have that first layer, second layer, all the layers of structure that has kept me here for over 5 years. If I was playing a guessing game, it would have went in one ear and out the other years ago. I'm not playing a guessing game. I have perfected my craft. And now it's time for you to also get in that space of perfecting your health journey by understanding how you can reverse what you have going on by getting to the roots and then trickling down from those symptoms, getting away from that and helping yourself reverse what you have going on. So I am not seeing any questions. Happy Friday to everybody. First of all, because I did not start the video with happy Friday. I hope y'all are going to have an amazing weekend, amazing Friday. Be safe if you're outside. I don't know how everybody's weather is. I think the weather has kind of calmed down, but if your weather has not calmed down, be safe in the weather. If it's muggy, if it's clean, if it's nice, if it's clear, whatever the weather is, be safe. If you're checking out my YouTube and you're catching this on YouTube, do not forget to drop any questions that you have down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're over here on TikTok, go check out my YouTube. It is linked in my bio. Go subscribe to me over there. I post every single Tuesday and Thursday, and I am posting shorts all throughout the week. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. I am out, y'all. I will see you later.